Hey guys, this is Billy from AdultCello.com, and we have a very quick how-to video today. Okay, this is how to apply rosin. All right, so first I just want to give a little shout out to the rosin I use. It's Baker's rosin. I just really love the packaging. It's kind of like a metal tin, and then they've got that really cool old school wax insignia on there with the bee. When you remove it, it's just this beautiful color, and it reminds me of those push pops from the 1980s. It's gonna be 4 quick steps and we'll get going, okay? So step 1 is you tighten the hair of your bow, all right? Because if your hair is not tight, when you sink, weight in to get the rosin onto the hair of the bow, you're also probably gonna start getting some rosin on the stick of your bow, and that's messy and completely unneeded, okay? So then we take the rosin open. So step 2 is what I'm gonna do. Is I'm going to put the hair flat onto the rosin. Keep in mind, you're not looking at this, the image is not backwards. For some reason, I really enjoy doing this backwards from a lot of people. So I have the rosin in my right hand, even though you bow with the right hand. It's just kind of what I got used to. So you can experiment, you can do this completely backwards from what I'm doing with the stick in your right hand and the rosin in your left hand. So I have it flat at the frog. Okay, the hair is tightened. Step 3, I'm going to do a single swipe, starting at the frog all the way to the tip. And I want to hear that sound. Okay, like that. I'll do it one more time. Okay, so that you want to hear that sound. I've seen people rosin, and I can just tell that they're just barely floating the rosin. You need to get that rosin into the hair, okay? And then step 4 is to repeat step 3, this kind of single swipe, as much as needed. Okay, for me that means usually whenever I apply rosin, because I play frequently, it's maybe 4 swipes, 5 swipes, okay? If you haven't rosined in a while, it might be more. If you've been having the habit of too much rosin, you might back off for a little while to just kind of decrease the amount of rosin that's left on the hair of your bow. So that's kind of individual based, okay? So you might be asking yourself, okay, you said tighten the hair, but I really don't know how much to tighten the hair. With cello bows, you're gonna wanna see a U-shaped camber in the stick, okay? So it's a kind of a concave shape. As you tighten the hair, it's gonna pull on the stick, and that U shape is going to become less pronounced. If you ever get to the point where it's convex, okay, it's like a hill shape, like this, like a little mound, definitely loosen the bow. That's way, way too tight, okay? You risk snapping the head of the stick doing that. And then when you're applying the rosin, you just want to make sure that as you sink in weight and get the hair, really saturated with that rosin, if the hair is sinking down all the way to the point where the stick is touching the hair, I would definitely tighten the hair just a little bit more so that you don't ever have the rosin directly touching the stick of the bow. And one other thing I see that personally I don't go in for, I see a lot of players, sometimes they'll kind of scrub at the frog and scrub at the tip and then go back and forth a whole bunch, and just kind of, they're definitely distributing way more rosin to the frog and to the tip. For me, what I like to feel is a very even amount of rosin throughout the entire hair of my bow, okay? What I find actually, often is that if I really scrub up on the frog and the tip, it can easily become too sticky, and that can make it harder to create a smooth bow change, okay? So for me, it's an even distribution throughout is better than, really just kind of indiscriminately getting after it. You also can get that kind of like Christmas snow globe effect, where if you've done that a little too much, then you hit a big chord at the frog, and then, there's a big plume of rosin dust, which I've definitely done in the past. So, for if you're doing it a lot, I'd say 4 or 5 really, generous swipes, and generous in terms of sinking into the rosin, and you should be good to go. Let me just talk about one thing I would say to beginners who are starting their journey, okay? If you got yourself kind of a beginner cello outfit, either you bought one or you're renting one, and it came with a cheap looking cake of rosin. Just make sure that the rosin is not really cheap rosin. That's the best way to put it, is if you could end up swiping over and over again, and if you look at the rosin and it still looks like polished glass, then it's just closer probably to plastic than it is to tree sap, and it's going to be so difficult to work with. Another good way to tell if you're working with cheap rosin, if you've done like a number of swipes and then you're not usually supposed to touch the hair, but for this purpose, if you just touch the hair just a little bit, just brush it with the fingertip, you can feel and see the rosin on your fingertip. That's a good sign that, actually some of the rosin's making it onto the hair. If you touch it and it feels completely smooth to the touch, and the cake of rosin looks like it hasn't been ever scratched, it's cheap rosin. Please do yourself a favor, spend $5-10 and get yourself a cake of any of like the just name brand rosin. It will make the experience so much better and so much easier than having to try to work with rosin that's just never going to quite perform like it should. So there you have it. That's how to apply rosin. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please consider subscribing to my channel. See you next time.